I hope you have lived through your rough days in showbiz and you've come out the other side better and stronger. But if you haven't and you're currently living through a rough day in showbiz or you feel one coming on, I have some inspiration for you. I have a guest here. Let me tell you about her. Her name is Brenda Kate. Brenda Kate is an LA-based actress and author. She has co-starred on such shows as Bosch and Criminal Minds, and the back of her head became famous, playing Laura Spencer's double for years on General Hospital. She has been seen in commercials, and her voice can be heard in radio spots. She has performed stand-up and improv at many theaters around Los Angeles, included, but not limited to, the Comedy Store and UCB. She is also an author who publishes under the pseudonym Kate Russell. Her first novel, Down the Rabbit Hole, a memoir of abuse, addiction, and recovery, is the recipient of an Independent Authors Network Award and Bragg Medallion. She just released her second book, Voicemails from My Sister, Stories from a Schizoaffective Sibling. Both books are available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. She also narrates both audiobooks, and they can be found on audible.com. She currently has multiple projects in development, which she has written, produced, and starred in. Wow, what a guest. Hello, Brenda Kate. Woo!
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
You are such an accomplished person, and we've seen you through many facets of showbiz. From that intro, we've seen you go from being the back of a head to being in TV shows, and of course, being an author. That's a totally different facet of showbiz. I know that you must have some rough day and showbiz stories for us.
I definitely do. Yeah. Okay. So, oh boy, where to even begin? I will start with a story that is currently happening right now, like a situation that is going down right now. So, yeah. So, okay. So I, wrote it. So I've written some scenes to produce for my reel to basically, you know, narrow in on my casting, show like, hey, here's the roles I can play, blah, blah, blah. So one of the scenes I wrote was in the vein of like a Law and Order, you know, a procedural where two detectives come to my door and tell me, a worried mother that her son has been found dead. And then I can break down and cry. It is one page, not some lengthy thing. I wrote it and I asked a girl who I know from casting director workshops if she wanted to be in the scene with me. And she was very enthusiastic and she was like, yes. Who's directing? And I was like, well, I don't have a director yet because the guy that I was working with for some other scenes that I've shot and produced and written and done, he got a jobby job. So he was not like available anymore. And so for this particular scene, I didn't have a director. And she was like, oh my God, let me produce this for you. I know directors. I can hook you up with them. I love producing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. Cool. And put my trust in her and paid her.
Very nice. Very generous of you.
And paid her. I paid her what she asked for. She asked for $200. I was like, yeah, sure. So,
I respect that.
Yeah. So she hooks me up with this USC student. So she gives me some options, a few, mostly students. Right. And, but she's so strongly vouching for, especially this girl in particular that we ended up going with, USC student. She shows me her reel. Her reel is basically just, one short film that she's apparently like she directed and edited, but it's gritty and it's dark and it's well edited. And so I go, okay, great. Sure. It's one page, you know, it's not rocket science. Like it shouldn't be that difficult, you know?
Yeah.
And I know exactly what I'm going for. And she says, oh, this girl that we end up saying yes to, this USC student, she says, oh, I really want to do a scene just like this for my reel. So I'm really excited about it. I was like, great. So we hire her. During the pre-production, like this girl who I hired as producer, who I just initially just wanted to be my scene partner, starts like kind of like setting all these boundaries. Like, okay, don't text during, only text me between the hours of like 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. And I'm like, okay. And like, just all these like kind of like it just gets a little like more and more like, ooh, a little weird. And so in my head, I'm going, oh, whatever. Like I probably wouldn't hire her to be my producer again, but who cares, right? Like we're
Yeah.
gonna, you know, and then other things like I didn't have a hair and makeup person. I was like, for this particular scene, it's very important that I look like an upper middle class housewife. That is the tone I am going for. That is the roles I am going for. So I need somebody who's, and again, this isn't rocket science, but I didn't want to lock in a date until I had secured that hair and makeup person. And she was like very frustrated with me about that. She was like, just lock in the date. I will find you a hair and makeup person. And I was like, no, I'm going to wait till we have that hair and makeup person until I lock in a date because
Yeah.
that's smarter. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. The only person I'm locking in the date with really is my sound guy who I've worked with multiple times before. So he's really the only person waiting to hear, and he can wait one more day. Like he's fine. Like I know the dude. And so we find a hair and makeup person, who I'm like, I've never worked with before, but I'm like, okay. I agree to pay her. I pay her $250. She comes, okay. So shoot date. So here we are, we're on the shoot date and before the shoot, we had only one like phone conversation, me and this producer with the director. And she is a student. So I understand she's very busy with classes, but she like just couldn't be bothered with this pre-production meeting. She was like, I'll get a shot list to you. I'll get it to you. And like, it came like a day late.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, and I'm leery, but it's like we already have this date set in now. We already, and it's coming up. It's like within a few days.
Oh man. Yeah. It's got to be done.
So it's
It's
stressful.
got to be ready.
And meanwhile, this producer / actress girl she's just like really frustrated with me, like she's like, you just need to trust. You just need to like release it to the universe. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh
Like, you're like, she's like, Mercury is in retrograde. And I was like, oh no. Like, she literally said Mercury is in retrograde. And I was like, oh, you're a hippie and I can't, you're not built for this business, but like, whatever. So learning experience, I'll never hire you again. We are two very different people. And
Oh man.
okay, fine, whatever. So,
when you hear when you start hearing things about the universe, you just go,
yes.
oh no.
Well, it just makes me go, oh, are you new? Because that's not how this business works. Like,
no.
listen, and I said to her, I was very honest. I was like, I've done this multiple times and I've had disappointments multiple times. So I'm speaking from experience. My anxiety that you are sensing comes from real life experience. So when you say trust in the universe, no, I did that. And it bit me in the ass. So no, I'm going to go ahead and yes, micromanage this scene that I am shelling out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
$1,000 for.
And you're paying her too. So it's like, it's not, yeah.
I said, no one cares as much as I do.
There's a job to do.
Yeah. If this doesn't go well, the only person who really suffers is me because it's my money and it's my footage, so you don't really care. And this director doesn't really give a flying fuck if this shit goes well or not. And neither does the hair and makeup person and neither does the sound. You know what I mean?
No.
It's my job to worry. So you shut up and stop telling me how to feel.
Yeah, that's not there's
not
just
your
nothing
job at all.
There's nothing more passive aggressively insulting than being like, just trust the universe. I'm like, what? I'm from the East Coast. I can't do that shit. There's no universe.
Yeah, do not talk down to me. I'm not your
It
child.
is. It's patronizing.
It's so patronizing. I'm like, first of all, I'm older than you. I know more. Shut up. I've been doing this longer. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shoot date arrives. When I finally meet this director girl in person, she's like 19. She's green as they come. And I had asked her beforehand, I was like, cool, what camera are you shooting with? And do you have lights? She shows up with 2 lightsabers as her lights.
Lightsabers?
Lightsabers. Like, I don't know what kind of lights these are, but they're lightsabers. And they're not lights. She doesn't have a bounce card. Her camera is, and I had looked up the camera to see like beforehand to see like what it's going to look like. And it's going to look like it comes out okay, but there's no movement to the camera. She's got the camera on sticks the whole time. She doesn't move that. We're talking about, do we watch television? Do you know what Law and Order looks like? When somebody's having an emotional scene, you slowly zoom in on them. It's steady cam, or it's a slow zoom, or it's a it's on a dolly. It's a little bit of movement. The camera very rarely stays still,
Yep.
She doesn't know any of this, and shame on me for not saying very specifically that that's what I was looking for. But when she said, "Oh, I'm, want to do a scene just like this for my reel," I just trusted like an idiot, okay. So we're shooting, and she keeps saying, "Okay, I think we got it. Okay, I think we got it." I'm like, "Oh, I don't think we got it. Like, we need to keep going." And we've only blocked out 4 hours for this shoot. So I'm like, let's use this whole 4 hours,
How long had it been by that point when she said, "We got it"? Like the first take, we got it.
The first time, well, it kept being like every setup, she'd be like, "Okay, we got it." And I was like, "Oh no, we're going to do that again for safety." And I'd like go behind the camera and look and be like,
"Oh, good.
I want the camera to like at one point it was like she was cutting off my scene partners, like she got like half of her, it was like,
oh no,
like,
come on.
Her eyes are very important here. We
need
to see both of them.
Yeah, you need to see someone's face.
I mean, come on. So, and I was just like, okay, this girl is so green. Okay, lesson learned. Oh, by the way, I had initially said, because the guy that I worked with before, the director that I worked with before, who would help me produce, direct, and edit within 1 week, charged me $500. This girl wanted to charge me $650, and I agreed to that. Yeah. So, and I was like, whatever, as long as I get what I'm looking for, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind paying, as long as I get what I'm looking for. So, so shoot goes on. Finally, we wrap, and, and I feel great about my performance. I don't feel great about like what I'm going to end up with, because I just don't have faith in this girl after this shoot,
Yeah.
She had by the way, she had nothing to say during the shoot. She just like hit record. And like, she didn't say action. She didn't say cut. She didn't give me any adjustments. She didn't say more of this, less. It was not, I was like, director, no, you're just hitting record. Like nothing, literally nothing. Just, okay, I think we got it. Like, no.
We didn't.
So, all right. So we wrap, fine. 2 days go by. I text the producer / scene partner and I say, "Hey, can you send me," I'm gonna totally read this to you because it's unbelievable. Well, I won't say any names, but so I say, so 2 days go by after the shoot, and I say, "Hey girl, can you send me the pics from the set that Tim took with your phone?" So Tim, my boyfriend, who you interviewed, the other, who is amazing,
Tim Montoya, previous episode, listen to it.
Who was there, and kind of being the everything on the set,
Oh man.
This producer had said, take some pictures with my phone. Cause I want pictures, I want pictures of this shoot so I can, again, post them on IMDb, give them to my manager, and she had said, use my phone. So 2 days later, I say, "Hey girl, can you send me the pics from the set that Tim took with your phone?" And she goes, "Hey, so sorry, they got deleted. Best of luck in all the rest of your scenes. Please do not CC me on future communication, as I do not need to be involved at this point. You and director will be communicating independently of me from here on out for the final product. Good luck and have fun." And I say, "You sound upset. I'm at work, but I'm going to call you on my way home." And she says, "No, thanks. Need to place a boundary for my energy. Please respect it. I will reach out if and when I am ready." So I don't respond. And I'm like, oh, wow. Amazing. So great. So whatever.
Holy shit.
So I'm like, okay, this girl's whatever. Who cares? So by the way, I paid her half at the end of that shoot day. And I'm like, so I'll pay you half now and I'll pay you the other half upon delivery of the final product. And we had said 1 month. Yeah. And we had said 1 month for the finished product. And that was fine. So I paid her $325 that day. And so about 8 days ago now, I emailed her and I said, hey, just want to make sure we're on track. We had said 1 month for the finished product, so that'll be on the 14th. Just checking. No response. 2 days later, I email again and I say, hey, how's the editing going? No response. So then Tim's like, yeah, but she's like a kid, like text her. She didn't check her email. So 2 days go by. I text her and I say, hey, I've sent you a couple emails. Just want to make sure we're on schedule. No response. The next day, I leave her a voicemail and I say, it's very disconcerting that I'm not hearing back from you. Please just let me know what is going on. No response.
What?
So the next day, I text her and I say, it's okay if you're behind schedule. Just please respond to me. I say, we'll work something out. Just please respond to me. No response. So yes. So the next day, I have to reach out to this producer since she is the one who found her and who vouched for her. And I say, look, I'm sorry to bother you, but director is ghosting me. Maybe she'll respond to the person who hired her. And she says, hey, I just texted her. I'll let you know. And then all this. And then she says, hopefully she is physically okay. So, I told her that, I had been reaching out to her, no response, blah, 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 and this is the, her hippie response is like, hopefully she is physically okay. FYI, she is. I follow her on Instagram and she is posting in her stories. She is fine.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. At least dodge someone properly. Like, at least.
So green.
At least
in
don't
every
be
respect.
posting Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. So, if I don't hear back from her, I will start reaching out to the USC community, blah, 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 blah. And then today she says, while her communication is not ideal, she does always eventually get back to me. So if we can extend a little grace her way, that feels like the right move. So not the way I roll.
Yeah, but you paid because you paid her. You can't do this if you're getting paid. From her perspective, if you're getting paid, you can't do this.
You cannot ghost your employer.
It's essentially fraud. Like she's got to get back. She's got to get you that scene.
You just have to respond.
You can't just take people's money and then dodge them. I mean, I'm like, what are you gonna do? Who wants to lose $1,200? I don't care how much money you have. Nobody wants to lose $1,200 and be like, oh, it's whatever. Like anyone would do the exact same thing.
It just spells overprivileged, spoiled girl to me.
Big time.
Who thinks they can operate in the world this way? Like just not responding to somebody who paid them and who hired them.
You can't do it. And that's the thing. Like she thinks you're bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just wait.
That's what I was saying. Like,
talk about rough day in showbiz. I mean,
you're about to have a few, honey.
Yeah. Like, no.
Welcome to showbiz.
This is nothing. This is nothing. This is easy.
Yeah. So that's what's happening there. So So who knows what's going to happen there, but hey, I'll keep you posted. Maybe we'll have a follow-up episode and I can tell you what.
Why not? Yeah. Why not? It's a saga. It's like the Tiger King. It's like
exactly. It's the funnest reality show. It's
the funnest reality show. Well, that's a lot of money. And yeah, it sounds like you absolutely did not get what you paid for at all.
And here's the thing, like I knew the footage wasn't going to be great anyway. So you know what? Keep it.
I wonder if it exists. I'm just wondering if I know.
I'm like,
you know what I mean?
Because we have no idea. Okay, so not only did I do all that reaching out and did producer girl reach out, but my sound guy reached out. My sound guy, because I told the story to him, and he was like, "Oh, okay." I just texted her, and I was like, "Wait, you did?" He's like, "Yeah, I just said, hey, if you're having trouble editing, I know an editor, and I can come pick up the drive from you if you need." She didn't get back to him either. So we have no idea. Yeah, like, did it disappear? We don't know.
I believe in karma too. That's the thing.
Well, I definitely believe in karma.
So does she not believe in karma? That's the thing. Like the universe, what's going to happen to you now?
Well, I think she seems to be spoiled, that consequences have not happened to her yet in her life, and she's always been given like deadlines don't apply to her because she's special. So that's what it feels like. She doesn't need to get back to you because she doesn't need to because no one holds her accountable. Okay. Well, anyway,
I am sorry about that. That is a rough day in showbiz. Man, that's so stressful.
Yeah. I'm not sleeping. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, because I'm just, well, I'm stressed. I'm stressed about it. And I'm, and so like, and I'll catch myself like, cause like I'll wake up in the middle of the night.
Oh
So
man.
this is like 8 days now, and I'll wake up and then I'll start obsessing about it, and then I'll tell myself, no, Brenda, you gotta like let it go. Like, it's okay. Everything is gonna be okay. Ultimately, like, what's the worst thing that can happen is that I'm out $1,200, and
I hope not. I hope not. Nobody wants to be
even
that.
if that's the worst thing that happens, like, will I be okay? Like, of course, and
Yeah.
is this a huge lesson? Of course, That is my first story. You want to hear my second story?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so,
That was a hot story.
Thank you. So this next story, okay, so this happened not that long ago, like within the past few months. You know that podcast, Audrey Helps Actors?
Yes.
Thank God for that podcast. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. She's incredible. I will say that I don't think there is any better working actor podcast, like a podcast for the working actor that has working actors on it. She's incredible.
And also how to level up, which is every actor's question. How do I get from co-star to guest star? How do I get in the door as a newcomer? And she answered those questions for me because I've been at it for a while, and she introduced some new tactics that I hadn't used yet. She mentioned get the headshots that match the footage, that match your essence when you walk into the room. And I was like, oh, beautiful. Oh, yes, of course. The full package. Okay, wonderful. So she's like, and all that, there's all sorts of homework to do with that, right? And one of the things is watch television. And like, it's funny because years ago, I didn't, like, before 2019, when I started listening to Audrey, I didn't watch television, yet I wanted to be on television. And I'm such a dum-dum that it didn't occur to me, like, oh yes, watch TV, find out what shows you're right for, like, where do you fit? And then look and watch the shows and go, who has my part? Like, what would I have gone in for? What could I have booked? Oh, great. Okay. So it's so fun. Like, what fun homework, right? I watch television, and I look for myself. That's fun. So I narrowed it. So I narrowed it down. I made a list of shows that I'm right for. Like, she wanted like 20 because I ended up doing a consultation with her. And so she's like, give me like 20 shows. So I tried to do like half drama, half comedy, like, cause I'm very strong in both. And one of the shows was Saved by the Bell, that I think I'm right for. I think I'm perfect for a Bayside mom or a teacher at Bayside High. Turns out I knew one of the co-executive producers of Saved by the Bell. Cause like once you find out what shows you're right for, then you look for who the showrunner is. You like kind of like get to know these people that work on the shows. Right. Well, I know this guy, and I was like, oh my God, cool. So I email him and I'm like, hey, would you pass my reel along to casting? Because I think I'd be perfect for a Bayside mom on your show. And he's like, yeah, sure, of course. So he does. And I also reach out to casting and I'm like, hey, I'm so-and-so's friend. Here's my reel, just, blah, blah, blah. And they email me back and they're like, yeah, we're going to call you in this season. Great.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. Great. Right. Perfect. Lovely. So meanwhile, back then I had an agent. Okay. So,
oh, I know what's coming.
And this agent was new to Los Angeles and found me on Talent Link from Actors Access.
Oh, yes.
Perhaps that sometimes works out well for people, but not in this case. So, so I had signed with them, just because it actually was fine. I like went there and met with them, and the woman was super enthusiastic. And they're like a Georgia base. Now they're out here, and but they're not new to the game. They're just new to Los Angeles, blah, blah, blah. But super, like, we talked about type, we talked about shows, we talked about roles I'd be right for. Yeah, it seemed great. So good. So, so I let them know, I have a relationship with the co-executive producer of Saved by the Bell, and I'm really right for it. So please keep an eye out and put a little note when you're submitting me that I know the co-executive producer and they've seen my reel. So they do. And I get nothing, and I'm looking at Casting About, and they are casting season 2. And I'm like, so I, and I reach out to my agent. And I'm like, just would you? And I finally, I'm like, would you send me a talent report, submissions report? And she emails me back and she's like, well, we're not supposed to because Actors Access doesn't want us to. And I was like,
Mm-mm.
what? I was like, and she's like, but I will make an exception. And she sends it to me.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
Like,
thank you. Oh, I'm not worthy.
Yeah. What does Actors Access have to do with my career? What?
Nothing.
Don't
blame Actors Access. Actors Access is helping all of us. Like, what are you talking about?
Why would they not? Doesn't matter. Okay. So she goes, but I'll make an exception. She attaches the submissions report. I look at it. There is an EcoCast request for me for Saved by the Bell 3 months earlier, which I never got. So I immediately email my agent and I say, there's a request for an EcoCast from me in June. I never got this request. And she's like, oh, let me see. And it says the submitting agent and it says her name. Now, this agency has been through some agents. Some agents have left, but the submitting agent is her. And I did not get this request. So I'm freaking out. And I email her and I'm like, and she's like, let me see what happened. I emailed Actors Access. I'm like, what happened? I pay you, by the way, Actors Access, to get me all your job is to get me my audition notifications. And you did not do that. And they say, everybody's passing the buck. Oh, that's on your agent's end. Oh, it's on Actors Access's end. I email casting and I'm like, just so you know, I just found out that I missed an EcoCast audition back in June. I am not a flaky actor. I never got this audition request. I am currently in talks with both my agent and Actors Access to try to figure out what happened here. But please know, I would never miss an audition. I have been actively pursuing this show. I would never miss an audition. So the only satisfaction that I got from this is that my agent, okay, so check this out. So my agent says, it went to an inbox of an agent who is no longer with the agency. And then she's no longer with the agency. So she just didn't get to you. And I'm like, well, that's not a satisfactory answer since so like submissions report is like months and months long, right?
Yeah.
This was in the middle. So this one agent has been submitting me for say 3 months. And this one audition was like a month and a half ago kind of thing. Like you've been the only one submitting me for months. So how on earth did her name is nowhere on here. Your name is all over this report.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Sounds like to me is that you didn't get this audition to me.
She missed it.
Well, that's what I think. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pass this along to head of the agency and he'll get back to you. He emails me back the next day, tells me exactly the same thing. It was an agent who is no longer with us. And we see that you haven't worked in a while. So we're going to drop you. Yeah. So
that's interesting.
I was like, oh, you're dropping me.
Right. Okay.
Because I fucked up.
Right. Okay. Right.
Did you think I was going to keep you?
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Very good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So that happened. I swear to God, I was like, okay, is the universe conspiring against me here? Like I'm doing everything right. And this happens. And, so that.
Damn. Ooh, that's a biting rough day in showbiz story.
Yes.
Wow.
So.
I can't believe that. I cannot believe that.
I know. I think I should get an award. For the worst stories. The worst days and the worst things that have happened.
You've got it. I had an agent, a similar story like that with an agent who actually has done this to people I know too, where there's this one agent who pretty easy to sign with, I would say.
Okay.
Meet with them. It's cool. They sign you. And this happened to me. This happened to a couple people I know. And like, no auditions, auditions that happened were like weird and like not for me. And like, it didn't make any sense. And it was like, I think I got like 2 auditions from this person.
Mhm.
And I think I said at one point, like, yeah, you know what? This is like, I mean, and this was many years ago, but I said, yeah, like acting is pretty much all I do. And like, I'm trying to really get in the door. And like, you know, this is how I really would like to support myself through acting.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, like, where are the auditions? That's not exactly what I said, but that was essentially the tone of the message. And they just emailed me and said, let's drop representation right now.
Mm.
And that was it. And the same thing has happened to multiple friends of mine with this exact same person. I think they're actually notorious for like doing this, for just like taking people on and then just being like, oh, well, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to. Yeah, like I've heard never ask, like, are you submitting me? And never ask, why am I not getting more auditions? Like always call with solutions, not with problems. So
yeah. Which now I've learned, it's, but you know.
Whenever I would communicate with that old agent and now with my manager, I'm always like, I shot another scene. Here it is. You know, here's, you know, more ways to sell me, you know, here's shows that correspond with the scene that I just shot. And some pictures from the set that I will put on IMDb that you can submit, you know, as well. That last agency had only gotten me 1 audition ever. And they were like,
oh, okay.
Ever. And so that's why when I saw the submissions report and they had missed one, I was like, oh, I did, you know?
Yeah.
Like, unfucking acceptable. But hey, listen, nobody said this was going to be easy. So I just maybe hope there'd be just a little more love coming my way. But, you know, I also believe things happen for a reason, and that everything that, you know, everything happens kind of not the way you plan it, but the way it's supposed to, you know?
I agree. Seemingly so bad in the moment, but then in the long term, it's like, oh no, that was actually good progress for that to happen. And
is an opportunity for spiritual growth. So
yes.
I do see that, and I learn from it. It doesn't mean that I'm not over here like about to talk some smack, because I will. But
we're talking smack.
Don't think I didn't take the lesson away from it. I did, you know.
Absolutely. Do you have any rough days in showbiz from publishing and writing as an author?
So my first book was about my abusive childhood, and then so I'm 10 years sober. So
oh wow, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So then going into like abusive childhood. Oh, guess what happened? I turned into a drug addict. Then I got sober. So it's my memoir, and to promote it. So I self-published it because I was sick and tired of waiting for a literary agent to get back to me. So for a year, that's what I tried to do, was find a literary agent to get this book out there. And then I learned that you don't have to have a literary agent to get it. I knew about self-publishing, but I didn't realize that if you self-publish, that's not the end. A publisher can then pick you up if your book gains traction. And I was like, I didn't even know that. I didn't know it worked backwards like that. So I was fine, so I self-published it. Yeah. So guys, just self-publish your books. Like, cause then if it gets enough traction, or just who cares? Like, just, by the way, like it's getting out there and I'm thrilled. So
hell yeah.
One of the ways it got out there was, I did a lot of podcasts about, you Google it, there's a podcast for it. I was like, recovery podcast, there's a million. Addiction podcast, there's a million. You know, childhood trauma podcast, there's a million. And I ended up getting on like 8 different podcasts to promote my book. My book is now in the UK. It's in Australia. Yeah, I get reviews from people from Australia, and I'm like, oh my God, like that's so amazing. The audiobook just the sales are just the numbers keep going up, and I'm thrilled. So
wow.
So that's going really well. And like I said, it doesn't take a ton, or I didn't say this to you, but I said this last night to my friend. I don't need a ton of success, just a little bit to say you're on the right track.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a payback for all that you're putting into it. Just a little bit of a reward. That's all I need. I don't need to be famous. I don't need to be J.K. Rowling. I don't need to be Julia Roberts. I just need to be, occasionally employed.
Yeah.
Making some money. So, so that book, great. Now my second book, is about my sister. Now, again, Googled, podcast for bipolar schizoaffective disorder, there are podcasts about bipolar schizoaffective disorder. So I
Amazing.
did the same thing I did for Rabbit Hole. I emailed them and was like, hello, hi, I just published this book. It's exactly what your podcast is about. I think we could create a very interesting episode, and here's what we could possibly talk about. And not one has gotten back to me.
Damn.
And that's crazy because I've emailed like a lot. And for when I was emailing the addiction people, they were getting back to, I got a lot of responses, say maybe I emailed 50, I got 8 responses. So I've emailed 50 for voicemails and gotten 0 responses. And that's like very discouraging,
That doesn't make any sense. That's weird. What's up with that?
So that's just, it's discouraging, but I'm not going to give up. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'll just I'll find more, and I'll find other ways to market it, I guess. But that's been like, really,
yeah,
like, not hard enough to self-publish and get your work out there, because basically what you need is like, you need reviews to increase, because it's on sale on Amazon. And in order to increase its visibility, what matters more than sales matter, definitely. Reviews matter. Reviews really matter in terms of like, if somebody's searching for it, them being able to find it, or it popping up as a suggestion for people who, if you like that book, you may also like this book. And that's where a lot of sales happen. That's, that's what,
I see.
That's what gets clicks. So in order to do that, like, the word needs to be out there that this exists.
Yep.
And the way to do that seems to be podcasts.
Podcasts like Rough Day in Showbiz, singular.
But there are many. And do an audiobook. If you're going to write a book, you must do the audiobook version. That's where all my sales happen. Nobody reads, they listen.
Oh, cool. And what's up, voiceover? What's up voiceover work that you created for yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, I narrate them both and I edit in them both. That's tedious, but it's also like, I wouldn't have had it any other way. Like, I had a friend who was like, oh, my husband can edit your book for you, your audio book. And I was like, oh, no way. This is the one creative thing that I have complete control over.
Yeah.
Up any of it.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
Like, I want to control the pace,
Yeah.
I want to control that. So
yeah, audiobooks are baffling to me. Just like I would definitely want to do it myself, because like I know when I'd be bad and when I like, need to redo a bunch of it. Like and other people wouldn't. So yeah.
I had to go back to the studio multiple times.
I'm sure. Yeah. What do you have coming up in terms of your projects and writing and stuff like that?
Okay, so Tim and I just shot a Western scene that we...
Yes, I saw the picture of that on Instagram. Looked really good.
So Tim wrote it. He'll say we wrote it. I was there, but he really wrote it.
Yes.
But we got... it's going to be amazing. We just shot it on Saturday, so we should have that within the next couple of weeks. I will put that out. It's going to be great. You can, if you check out my IMDb, which is, Brenda Kate, I always post my work there. So all the scenes I've written and produced and starred in are there. And then this one will be added soon. So there's that. And then I'm doing a comedy that may be set in the 80s. It's written to be set in the 80s in a,
cool.
In the vein of like Goldberg's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, period as in 60s, 70s, 80s comedies happening right now.
There are.
I'm trying to get, some footage that shows I should be a mom in one of those. So yeah, I wrote this other scene that I'm working on producing, but I need something that can pass as an 1980s food court, and I'm having trouble finding that. So feel free to reach out if you know of a 1980s food court or something with lighting that can pass as a 1980s food court. I would be grateful. So doing that, and then in addition to promoting voicemails from my sister, I'm about to start my 3rd book, which will probably, I'm not sure what it's going to be called. I'm thinking about, that's what my dad would say. So my whole plan is to do, so the next book about my dad, the final book about my mom, and then call it Portrait of a Dysfunctional Family.
Where can people follow you? Social media?
Brenda Kate Partello on Instagram. I think I'm just Brenda Kate on Twitter. And I think I'm Brenda Kate Partello on Facebook. And then IMDb, I'm Brenda Kate. And then I have a YouTube channel, which I It's either Brenda Kate or Brenda Kate Partello. Just keep trying. I don't know.
Brenda Kate Partello. Brenda Kate, check out her books. Follow her on Instagram. She's making it happen. Thank you so much for being on here. This was so cool. Terrific stories.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's the hot goss.
Brenda Kate. Woo!
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.